Hey everybody, welcome back to another Slime Fun episode here on my channel. I'm Boomer, your host, and today we're doing a few things. One thing we're going to talk about is all of the spells. I'm in the process of unlocking and researching every single spell and trying to find its combination. Now, if you remember previously, there's 84 possible combinations. There are 69 spells, I believe it is. And so what I'm looking to do will be to find, like I said, all the combinations. I'll post them. It's either going to be in the link of this description video, or I'm going to post a link to a file you can download, one of the two. But I've been going through now. Actually going through this process is about as simple of a process as you really get in terms of this, because again, there's only so many possibilities. And so I'm actually typing this in my spreadsheet as I go, what the results of each one are. I've got, how many have I done so far? 16 that I've gone through. And so a real simple way to do this. So just real quick to show you, I actually have all 9 different crystal here. They're all common, and the reason I'm choosing common is even though you need, I believe it's at least 10 crystal of each type for once the spell is on the stave to work. To identify its recipe, you only need 1. So I'm using the commons, the ones, to identify the recipe. Now, down the road, if I decide that I want to start using some of these, great. I have tens of thousands of crystals stored up. I can make whatever I need with as much power as I need for as much usage as I need. But the process of finding them all, and if you want to go through this and you don't want to see my list, great. Get all 9, and I recommend putting them in alphabetical order. You start by dropping 1 of 1, 1 of 2, 1 of 3. From there you go 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, and so on until you get to 1, 2, 9. Then you go 1, 3, 4. You wouldn't do 1, 3, 2 because you've already done it. So you go 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 6 through 1, 3, 9. Then you go 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 6 until you get to 9. So it's a process of elimination where every single number is actually, in all the combinations, the 84 combinations, every number is used 28 times. Now, out of the 84 opportunities or combinations, only 69, like I said, will end up as actual spells. And so that's what I'm trying to determine right now. So after you drop all 3, then you drop a basic spell plate. Now that did take me a while to get enough resources to have enough of those put together. And yeah, if you see me moving fast now, it's because I actually finally put together a permanent set of armor, at least enough to where I didn't have to worry. I had actually taken Slime, I think it's Slime Frame's cryo suit, and had upgraded it, but it broke the radiation protection by upgrading it to netherite. And so I just combined the best of Infinity Expansion and what I'd put together. Alright, so for example, this Hellscape, it says, magically charged plate storing magic potential. Now, I don't know what that is yet. I'm not worried about finding out what it is yet. I'm simply just looking for the name and, like I said, the combinations. And then I'm going to make those available to anybody who wants them from some sort of a download or in the description of this video. I don't know how much data you can actually put in a video description. We'll see. It might get to the point to where I simply just have to link a file, which is completely fine as well. Alright, so now we're on combination 149. So just so you can see what I'm doing, I'm actually got, okay, so Alchemo will go down. Whoops. Well, I needed that one anyways, that's fine. I got moved off spot, so 1, 4, and 9. So then from here I would go to 1, 5, 6, right? Because again, I've already done all the other combinations prior to that. Okay. Now, anytime I see the charge plate go back on my inventory, well, that tells me that tells me it wasn't a valid combination. But if you look at the plate and it's got a name in there, great. Now again, I think the basic lore on here, I think it's all the same for all of these. Yeah. So you're going to have to kind of test and see what each one does. All I'm caring about right now is identifying these for you guys. So chill wind. So that was alchemical, or alchemical technically, elemental, and void. Okay. So that gets me through 149 if you assign each of the 9 Crystamae a number. So I've tried 18 combinations. I have 68 left to go. Now, while I'm doing this, I do want to share with you what else is going on. Right now, the reason I'm doing this first, I think it was just a change of pace, because what I'm trying to get to, sorry, I'm drinking my Diet Coke. I know you're not supposed to do that on camera, but who cares? What I'm trying to get to is being able to fully automate the process of chronicling and realizing. And so we'll just take a quick break from this so I can just show you why this is so crazy and why I decided just to hold off for a minute and finish the spell plates. Let's go into Crystamae and let's look at the machine. Alright, so Chronicler Tier Panel 5. Here's why you want this. It automatically picks up items thrown on top of it and pushes storied items below. In other words, you can put a Chronicler right on top of a level 5 realization altar, which will automatically pick up items thrown on it. In other words, you can chronicle and realize items automatically to produce the, I'm going to say the crystals, and the amethyst crystals that grow on the ground. Now, there's no method within Crystamae to automatically mine those that I'm aware of. But vanilla redstone with pistons can pull them up off the ground, loosen them, and then you can use an infused hopper to pick them up and then send them to your sorting system. That's the ultimate goal here. Now, to try to speed things up, I've been using tier 4 and tier 5 items to get some mythical crystals, and here's why. Let's look at chronicling this thing, okay? So these are gilded runes. I'm going to call them gilded runes. Technically, they're not gilded, but you get them from gilding items, and here's why. Let's look at this particular rune, an arcane sigil. You get this. It's a low chance by gilding items. When those gilded items are put into the realization chamber and they form the crystal, when they're broken, there's a slight chance of getting the arcane sigil. I don't know what that chance is. I haven't looked at the code. It took me 6 or 7 attempts to get my first one. Now, that doesn't mean that the odds are 14%. It could be higher, it could be lower. I may look at the code to find out what that is. But either way, it's a low percent. So it's going to take a while to get enough of those, because I need a bare minimum of 8. At a bare minimum. So that means I have to be gilding items. Well, in order to gild items, let's talk about what it takes to actually do that. So a lot of this stuff I already have. Infernal Bowmeal, no big deal. Necrotic Skulls, leads. But if I remember right, it was the Realization Altar. Was this the one? Spiritual Silken. No, there was something else. Oh, to gild. Okay, so it's the actual gilding crystals. It's the prismatic crystals. That's the challenge. You need prismatic crystals to gild, and each tier that an item is categorized for chronicling, you need 1 prismatic crystal for each tier. I hope I said that right. So, for example, an acacia boat is tier 1. You need 1 prismatic crystal in the gilder. A golden apple, the gapple, is a tier 4. So I would need 4 prismatic crystals. Anotherite block is tier 5. So I do have a gilder built already. I actually am running 2 chronicling panels at the same time to try to speed this up too. But this is the gilder, and so the prismatic gilder. I don't know if it was because I built my base in half slabs or not, but what you're supposed to do is throw the crystal down. The prismatic gilder absorbs those crystals, and then you right click it with the item, and if you have enough prismatic crystal stored up to equal or greater than the tier of the item, then that item becomes gilded. Then you run it through the realization altar. Then you harvest the crystals, hoping to get the arcane sigil. What I was finding was when I had it on the top half slab, it was kicking the item left and right and all over. So what I did is I created just a small little pocket. So in other words, when I throw the crystal, ooh, look at that, it threw the guide right back at me. Where did it go? Oh my gosh, okay. So you see what was happening. It didn't like the guide. But when I was throwing prismatic crystals, it was doing that. It was kicking them around. Now when I throw it and it lands in here, it absorbs them like it's supposed to. Then I can right-click the item. So what do these two different processes have to do with each other? Absolutely nothing. I'm simply going through and doing two different parts of Crystamae at the same time. Now, to make prismatic crystals, here's why this is such a pain. When you look at these three crystals, it's what these are made up of. Okay? The blank crystal. Well, to make a blank crystal, you have to throw mythical crystals through an end portal. In other words, 50 crystal per. So if I were to throw one of these through, I get one blank crystal. You don't need all 9. Any of the 9 will work. So if you happen to have a ton of one of them that you're not going to need a whole lot of, use those first. Doesn't matter. Any of the 9 crystals go through. So if I were to throw one of each color through a nether portal, when you go into the nether, you'll have 9 different crystals set there. Now, you can actually rig up a system to bring that back into the overworld automatically via fluffy machines and the ender chest insertion nodes, where we could automatically have an infused hopper, push those items into the ender chest, send it back to the overworld so you wouldn't even have to transfer between the two. And that's something that we will set up and I'll show you through one of the episodes. But this is why I spent literally 8 hours running gapples and netherite blocks and tier 5 items through the chroniclers so that I could get a ton of mythical Crystal. So in my network here, just to show you, I've been trying to prepare for this process because I'm expecting, none of that, I'm trying to gild every item, right? So there's 994 items. That means I need a minimum of 994. No, actually, I need a lot more than 994 prismatic crystals because, again, that's if they were all tier 1. There's a lot of tier 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s, so you're probably going to need somewhere in the neighborhood, is my guess, of around 2,000 to 2,500 mythical crystals. I don't know if I know a few people have actually reached that level, the Emeritus Professor level, but the gilded version of it, I know of 1 or 2 people that have done it. I would love to know if you tracked how many mythical crystals it took you. Now, granted, it's, you know, all vanilla items. You don't actually process any slime funds, so it should be the same on every server. All right, so when I look at mythical, 8, 14, so 22 plus 13, 35, 43, 51, 53, 54, 68. I have 73. Okay. I thought Supreme. I truly believe Supreme was the most punishing endgame add-on there was. And after spending months, although I did take an honest break from Crystamae Historia on the server, I thought Supreme was by far the hardest. I'm starting to wonder if reaching the Grandmaster Nagus version, or Magus, whatever it is, in Crystamae Historia isn't the worst. I'm going to need at least 2,000 mythical crystals, and I'm in the 70s. Now, I've been lucky in that, okay, make sure the number's sitting in there. Because I'm running 2 chroniclers, I can do this a lot faster because they do take forever. When you get to tier 4 and tier 5 items, they take a lot longer to chronicle. And so I'm running 2 at a time so that the realization altar keeps up. Having said that, on an average item that's tier 4 or tier 5 especially, most of the time, if I'm lucky, I probably average 1 mythical story. Sometimes I get 2. I thought once I got 3, but I could be wrong. So if I get 2 on 1 item, that means I'm going to get 6 mythical crystal when I mine it. Even at that rate, even if every single item had 2, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be well over 2,000 of them, right? That means I have to chronicle 1,000 tier 5 items. On average, it's probably going to be 2,000, because the average is probably 1, not 2. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's so you can understand why I wanted to take a break from doing this now, and how I give Sephi a lot of credit. Sephiroth's original dev of Crystamae, and oh my gosh, he built this thing for the long haul. There's no doubt in my mind, Crystamae Historia was designed to last you forever. And I haven't even barely begun to gild. I think I've gilded 3 items. Let me just go back and look. And that was really just to work out the process. I was actually struggling trying to figure it out at first. And it took me a little bit of time, but I finally figured it out. I've gilded 3 items. The Acacia Bullet, the Acacia Plank, and I think the Dragon Egg was the other one I did. Yeah, because I was testing how many items you could store up. There's nothing to show when you click on it. It's just saying you've gilded it or not. There's no new data to produce. It doesn't even tell you how many times you've gilded it, and it doesn't really matter. But I think that was the one I was using to test. So if I put 6 in, gilded the Dragon Egg, would the 1 remaining stay there? And it did. So 3 out of 994. Dang. Can you see why this is so genius, Sephi, what you did, if you're listening? I really appreciate the fact that this is not one of those things that you can learn and get bored with quickly. It's mind-numbing because of the sheer amount of time and effort you got to go out into the world. And I'd really been thinking about this when I gathered stuff. I would have gathered multiple so I could have EMC tech them and not have to do what I got to do, which is go back like a charge creeper head. Granted, you need 2 to EMC it anyways, but you know what I mean? Going back out in the world looking for tall grass, going back out in the world looking for iron horse armor, gold horse armor. I didn't, you know. Wow. All right, I'll tell you what. Let me get to finishing up the spell plates, getting those all done, putting that list together. And then I'm going to publish that list for you guys. And then we'll come back and we'll dive in on the next episode on gilding and moving forward inside of Crystamae Historia and see if I can't get lucky gilding and get this process automated a whole lot faster. So thanks guys for watching. I appreciate it. And don't forget, when you're playing Slime Fun, you got to go boomer or you got to go home. We'll see you later.